biggest ever investment by a Chinese company in France was the deal between the car maker Dongfeng and Peugeot Citroën. That's officially due to be signed later. 800 million euros it was worth. It'll be signed in front of the two presidents when they meet in Paris later today. That big investment, though, one they're hoping to replicate in other sectors, certainly on the French side anyway, and they're hoping that President Xi Jinping's visit will bring with it more tie-ups. We're particularly expecting an announcement on Airbus of what's reported to be an order for 150 new aircraft, so really would be a multi-billion euro deal for Airbus, a huge boost for them. There are currently a number of Chinese airlines that have orders with Airbus that have been blocked for various political reasons. There's hope for movement on those two, getting those orders moving. These announcements due to be made when President Xi Jinping meets with President Francois Hollande here in Paris later today. All of this aiming to improve trade relations between the two countries. France exports just around 15 billion euros worth of goods to China every year. One area of expansion that could be possible on top of all those other areas, red wine. The Chinese are the biggest consumers of red wine in the world, and France, of course, the biggest producer. So possible space for business deals there as well.
Biggest consumer other than me and Stephen probably as well. Technology news next. Bit of a strange one this, though. A major purchase by Facebook, in fact.
Yeah, that's right. Social Network is making its first foray into hardware. It's bought the virtual reality headset maker Oculus in a deal that's worth $2 billion. That's despite the fact the company hasn't yet released a final version of its product. It's just the latest in a string of acquisitions by Facebook, though, which is trying to prove its commitment to innovation. William Hildebrandt has the story.
Meet Oculus, the latest in a string of recent Facebook acquisitions. Tech experts have raved about their Rift headset, yet to be released, but already more than 75,000 orders have been placed. Oculus has its sights on revolutionizing video games, and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said that will remain the priority, though he also hopes the technology will change how people communicate.
Imagine enjoying a courtside seat at a game, studying in a classroom of students and teachers all over the world, or consulting with a doctor face-to-face just by putting on goggles in your home. This is really a new communication platform.
In the past, consumers have shunned headsets for more traditional gaming consoles, but tech giants are betting that could change. Sony is developing a virtual reality headset, and this will be Facebook's first plunge into hardware, following rival Google's own foray with its glass headset. The Oculus acquisition also fits some broader strokes of Facebook's strategy in acquiring companies in hopes of bridging different platforms like photo sharing Instagram for $1 billion or the messaging service WhatsApp for $19 billion. These businesses have provided little revenue, but Facebook is counting on their popularity and wide user base. In the case of Oculus, though, it remains to be seen if virtual reality will lead to real profits.
Let's take a quick look now at what's happening on the markets. And in Asia today, there's a little more optimism around after comments from the European Central Bank President Mario Draghi that monetary policy, he said, should be used to support countries using the euro. That's caused some cheer. You can see the Hang Seng in Hong Kong and the Kospi in Seoul up significantly. In China, there's been some concern over a run on a small rural bank. The People's Bank of China, the Chinese Central Bank, had to step in to try and calm investor fears. See the shares in Shanghai there just dipping into the red.
Now, one much-awaited stock market debut begins a little bit later on. This is the maker of Candy Crush, isn't it?
Yes, the London-based game developer King has been valued at $7.1 billion in this initial public offering of its shares. The company has sold 22 million of the shares in the first sale last night, raising $500 million, but it will begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange later this Wednesday. Candy Crush is one of the biggest mobile games on the market, with some 97 million players worldwide. Tax authorities in the United States have ruled that Bitcoin will be treated like property and not a currency. The Internal Revenue Service says transactions using the virtual currency will be subject to the rules that govern barter transactions, but it doesn't count, the IRS says, as a currency because you can't pay your tax bill with them. And global box office sales grew by more than 4% last year to almost $36 million. The growth was driven by soaring sales in China, where revenues from cinemas there grew 27%. The US and Canada remains the largest film market, where the Disney animated film Frozen was one of the year's biggest earners.
And as Stephen was talking, there was just a little bit of breaking business news coming in, so I thought I might as well give it to you. Britain selling 7.8% of Lloyds Bank for $4.2 billion pounds. Britain selling 7.8% of Lloyds Bank for 4.2 billion pounds. I'm sure Stephen will bring us more on that a little bit later on. Now then, finally, Gérard Depardieu. He's made headlines, of course, when he moved to Russia in protest over high taxes here in France. He's back in the headlines once again, though, isn't he?
Yeah, the actor decided to leave France because of President Francois Hollande's wealth tax. He was welcomed with open arms in Russia at the start of last year and handed his Russian passport, but a new ad campaign that he's been involved in is causing some controversy in the wake of the crisis in Ukraine. These were the images that you might remember from when he was in Russia. This is the ad campaign, though. It's for a Swiss luxury watch brand, Custos. It's a new line of watches, but the line that's been selected to tag Mr. Depardieu is proud to be Russian, which is causing some waves, as you might imagine, online. The ad has appeared on the brand's Facebook page earlier this month. Not great timing, given what's happening in Ukraine and Crimea. But Mr. Depardieu hasn't reacted to this particular ad campaign, but since moving to Russia has said that he feels equally at home everywhere in Europe and still has a great love for his homeland.
Along with the rest of us. All right, thanks a lot. Stephen Carroll with Business News here on France 24. Now, coming up, a musician from the band McFly's put together a video clip, in fact, showing his wife every day during her 9-month pregnancy. You can see the result